And we are back. Welcome to my predictions for the quarterfinals of the EFL / Carabao / League Cup taking place over the next couple of days. Now, firstly, before we get into it, my predictions for the last 16 of this competition were actually my highest performing predictions video over the last couple of months. So if you are new to the channel today to see this video, please make sure to drop a like and a subscribe on this video and on the channel. We, of course, do predictions for all things Premier League, FA Cup, League Cup, Champions League, Europa League and Europa Conference League. We will be doing predictions for the African Cup of Nations coming up next month as well, and of course leading through to the Euros in the summer of next year. So there is plenty for you to ingest over here. So like I said, if you haven't done so already, please do consider subscribing to the channel. As for the next couple of days, as we say, we have 4 EFL Cup quarterfinals to talk about. Let's just get straight into it. And we start off with the first of the 3 games this evening, and it is between Everton and Fulham. 2 Premier League sides, both on very, very good form at the moment. Fulham, of course, undone thanks to the Raul Jimenez red card at the weekend. But other than that, have been playing very, very well. Everton, of course, have been absolutely flying ever since their 10-point deduction. It's a really interesting one to call this. And I think all of the games taking place this week get a little bit harder to call because the likes of Manchester City, Arsenal and a few other of the top Premier League sides are already out of this competition. So all the sides remaining in this competition are going to feel like they've got a real opportunity to win a major trophy in the next few months. So I think that means it's harder to predict what sort of lineups you're going to see. I think you're going to see more first team lineups rather than the usual squad rotation you tend to get even at this stage of the competition. So with that said, I'm going to look through this like the guise of it was a Premier League game between Everton and Fulham, which at the moment I'd probably just sway in Everton's favour. So that is the way I'm going to go for tonight. I'm going to go for a 2-1 win to Everton. If you look at the fixtures this weekend, Everton have got to travel to Spurs. Fulham are at home to Burnley. So maybe in that respect, it may be Everton that make more changes. But like I say, real opportunity to get to a major semi-final, potentially a major final, depending on who you get in the next round. So I feel both sides are going to go for it, and I think Everton are just going to come out on the top. The second game this evening is a really interesting one. It is League One Port Vale taking on Championship Middlesbrough. So whatever happens in the next couple of days, there will be a side not from the Premier League in the semi-finals of the League Cup, which is exactly what we want to see. What makes this fixture even more interesting is how poorly both these sides are doing domestically, I say domestically, in their respective divisions at the moment. Port Vale currently sit 15th, Middlesbrough currently sit 12th. Both sides off the back of really poor runs at the moment. So really, really tough to place this game in terms of who's going to turn up. Are they going to make changes? Both sides have relatively tough fixtures coming up. Port Vale are away at Wycombe. Middlesbrough, I think, are at home to West Brom. So 2 really tough games for them in the league coming up at the weekend. But surely they've got to go for it tonight. It'll be an interesting one. Port Vale did lose in the FA Cup last weekend in a 3-3 draw that then resulted in penalties. So expect goals this evening in this one. I think it's going to be a really interesting one. I'm going to go for 3-1 to Middlesbrough purely because they are the Championship side. You would expect them to win this. And like I said, it's a real opportunity for them to get into a major semi-final that you can't really pass up. So I'd expect both of these sides to be playing their full strength teams. But we shall see. I'm predicting Middlesbrough to come out on top. And then the later game this evening sees Chelsea taking on Newcastle. And basically, to reiterate everything I said about Everton and Fulham, real opportunity for these sides to think that they really can win a major trophy here, and it'd be a massive coup for both of them. Mauricio Pochettino desperately needs to have something to write home about, given how well he's done as Chelsea manager so far. And for Newcastle, they really want to get their first major trophy under the new ownership, and this is a really, really, really good opportunity for them to do so. Again, the question will be, what sort of lineups are we going to see? Apparently, Christopher Nkunku will play some part tonight for Chelsea, although Pochettino said it will probably only be 20 minutes. Good thing that there is no extra time. It would go straight to penalties if this game does end a draw. For Newcastle, can they really make any changes at all? They have such an injury crisis at the moment. They may just only be able to play one team anyway. And like I said, I don't think they'll want to make changes ahead of the weekend because they're going to want to win this competition. Chelsea, I can't remember who they're playing, but I think they've got a tough game this weekend. Newcastle, I know, are away to Luton Town. So we'll see. I think it's going to be a really, really tight one. I can't split them at the moment. I think Newcastle will score because Chelsea defensively just aren't really on it at the moment. But equally, I think Chelsea will score because Newcastle have massively been struggling with injuries defensively themselves. So I'm going to go for a 1-1 draw. I'm not going to decide who's going to win on penalties because penalties is just a lottery. I used to do predictions on penalties, but it's not really my place to say, oh, I think this team will win on penalties because you just don't know until you see the starting lineups, who's going to be in goal, etc., etc., etc. So I'm going to go for a 1-1 draw in 90 minutes and then we'll see who comes out on top on penalties. And then finally, tomorrow's game sees Liverpool taking on West Ham United. Liverpool off the back of that 0-0 draw against Manchester United. And I could have another rant about Van Dijk's comments regarding that, but I'm not going to. West Ham off the back of a brilliant 3-0 win at the weekend, which saw them play some really good football after what had been a rough couple of weeks for them. Obviously, they did win in the Europa League as well. So, again, we're going to see where this one ends up. I think Liverpool will make changes. I think they are the most likely to make changes of anyone this week, given the fact they did drop points against Manchester United. They'll probably want to give another couple of players the opportunity to get into the Premier League team next weekend, which, of course, is a must-win game at home to Arsenal. So Liverpool will probably make the most changes out of anyone. We'll see. I think West Ham surely go for their full-strength team here. They're obviously playing very, very well in the Premier League, but you know, they are kind of stretched. They're playing Premier League. They're playing in this. They're going to have FA Cup coming up soon. They've obviously got through in the Europa League, something that can't be said, of course, for Newcastle. So that's why I'd expect them to make less changes against Chelsea. And again, of course, Liverpool in the same situation as West Ham, going through in their group as well. But I think West Ham will probably go for their full-strength team, which makes it a really tight one to call. I just think, again, given everything I've said so far in this video, you would expect Liverpool to be going for it. Not that they wouldn't anyway, but massive opportunity. Liverpool have to be the favourites as things stand. You look at the fixtures here, with Chelsea and Newcastle being unsure which one of them goes through. And like I say, with Manchester City, Manchester United, Arsenal, Tottenham, etc. already out of this tournament, Liverpool have to be considered the favourites as things stand. And as much as I would love to see them lose, I am going to go for a 2-1 win to Liverpool to round off today's predictions. That is going to be it for the predictions. Like I said, it's just the 4 games this week. I could have done a prediction for the Manchester City game against Red Diamonds later on this evening in the World Club Cup. But, I mean, I think we all expect Manchester City to win that. I don't think you need me to put a full graphic and video description about that. But we will see what happens in that one as well. Let me know down in the comment section all of your thoughts for everything that you think is going to happen over the next couple of days. Thank you very much for watching. As always, I'll be back with my Premier League predictions on Friday morning.